Hi everyone, here I am in the Norwich Museum kitchen. You can rent this kitchen for functions when the pandemic gets over. In the poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," it says, "While visions of sugar plums danced in their heads." A dancing plum coated in sugar dancing? Really? Why would children be dreaming of that? And why would the sugar plum fairy be chosen to rule the land of sweets in the Nutcracker? I have no idea what a sugar plum is. Well, I went on Google, and after much Googling, I'm not a lot clearer in the definition. By the 16th century in England, the word referred to almost anything sweet and round, such as a poached fruit or a confection of minced and dried fruit rolled in nuts. But the word sugar plum was also often used interchangeably with the term comfit, defined in the Oxford English Dictionary as a sweet consisting of a nut, seed, or other center coated in sugar. And such confections are produced in an incredibly labor and time-intensive process called panning, where layer after layer of sugar is poured over a nut or a seed and allowed to harden. Before the Industrial Revolution and the advent of automation, it could take a candy maker several days to complete a single batch of sugar plums. The confection's price often reflected this in the Victorian era, which meant sugar plums were a luxury item worthy of visions to be enjoyed on a special occasion. Now, the universality of sugar plums got a second boost by the mid-19th century, when factories began mass producing once labor-intensive foods like confits. The term sugar plum was then expanded to encompass almost any kind of sugar candy or bite-sized confection. It was this broad reach of the term sugar plum that most likely led to its demise. The term described every candy and yet no candy in particular. So when marketing gurus transformed crunchy coated sweets into M&Ms and slabs of chocolate, the sugar plum had nowhere to stick. Today, more than a century after its heyday, the word sugar plum is considered obsolete, and not a glimpse of the item can be found on candy store shelves. Well, at least that's what the internet says. Well, here in the museum we're reinstating the term sugar plum today, and I've made two easy types. Deborah Dufton sent me her family recipe, and she was willing to share it. And this recipe includes apricots, orange juice, orange rind, right here. So you grate it up, and something called crystallized ginger, which I had never heard of. And I got this at Coyle's. So shop locally. Coyle's has everything you need. So what happens is and I used a modern device, a food processor at home. So first thing you do is you cook up the apricots in some orange juice on the stove, with a couple of spoonfuls of honey and the orange rind. And you cook that up for about 10 minutes until the apricots soften and kind of look shiny. You cool that down then, and then you put the apricots in the processor with the ginger. And you come up with this paste, which is right here. And this paste tastes amazing. It is, I was completely surprised. So you take a spoonful of the paste and you drop that paste into some coconut, which I have here, and you mix it in, the coconut into this paste, and then you roll it up into a ball about the size of a plum. And then you put this in some icing sugar, and coat it in icing sugar, and they look something like this. And great, they taste awesome. Now, the other sugar plum, and you can store these will last in a cool place for over a month, they said. And they're gluten-free for anyone who is gluten-free. The other sugar plum I'm going to talk about is a more authentic type, which involves dried fruit, seeds, and nuts. So this recipe came off, is said to be a staple of a Canadian prairie Christmas, because I got it off the internet on Canada Foodie site. So it has almonds, and you don't have to cook this at all. So you dump the almonds into the food processor along with apricots and prunes, and I added some cranberries because I couldn't find figs. They said figs. Figs would be really good. But I think you could add almost any dried fruit into this, and it would mix up pretty well. So you mix up that, all the fruits in the food processor. Then you're going to get some seeds. So, and these, which smells like licorice. Just, yeah, if you like licorice. And fennel seed and caraway seed. And I grinded this in my little coffee grinder. Now it also said to put cardamom seed in, ground cardamom. Well, to buy a little jar of cardamom like this is over $12. So I thought, forget the cardamom. I added a little bit of nutmeg instead, and I always change up my recipes depending on what I have in my cupboard. And I'm sure that's what they did in pioneer days. So mix that up, then you add the seed, ground seed to the ground up fruit, and you end up with something that looks like this. So when you taste it, it kind of reminds you of Christmas cake or Christmas plum pudding, something like that. So you take a spoonful of this and make it into a nice ball. Again, I've cooled it off, and make it into a nice ball and roll it in some sugar, coated sugar, and you coat them up with, I used some brown sugar and white sugar together. They said to use some glaze. You can get colored crystal sugar that they used to use, and they hang them by balls off of trees at Christmas sometimes too. And there is your more authentic sugar plum. I think you can experiment with this. You can add whatever fruit you like. I'm going to try a more adult version, and if you soak your fruit in some brandy or spiced rum for a few days ahead, and then make them into this plum, then I'm sure you'll have dancing sugar plums in your head at Christmas. So enjoy, have fun making them. Bye.